superintendent or both without cause at any special or emergency meeting or within 30 days after that governing board first convenes after a general election, i.e. that's what the Orange County Board of Education did or is trying to do.
Orange Unified, not Orange County.
I'm sorry, the Orange Unified. Thank you, Libby.
Of course.
It's a short bill, and I just summarized basically what it does. It provides considerable due process for the superintendent, and it creates really a cooling off period for the newly elected school governing board. Moving on, we have AB 83. Its title is actually a good summary of what it is. It's called the Get Foreign Money Out of California Elections Act. And what it does is it closes a loophole regarding foreign money. It bans foreign money in California elections via foreign influenced U.S. corporations, which no previous act, either in California, the Political Reform Act of 1974, nor federal legislation has done. Those have only banned foreign persons money that's given directly to a candidate or a ballot measure committee. So it defines in a very rigorous way, which is actually consistent with the way it's used in federal law here and there, what a foreign influenced U.S. corporation is. The background of this, of course, is that it grew out of Citizens United. Corporations are people with First Amendment rights. It grew out of super PACs and other creative ways. Nonprofits use the tax code for spending dark money, hiding donors' identity. It grew out of the hyper-partisan politics that's paralyzed the Federal Elections Commission. And the fact is that foreign investment in U.S. corporations has continued to grow and skyrocket year by year. So that's the loophole that AB 83 closes. It is opposed by the California Chamber of Commerce, so we must be on the side of the angels if they're on the other side. It is co-sponsored. It's co-sponsored by the Center for American Progress, by Money Out, Voters In, and Free Speech for People, those three organizations. And it, according to the Appropriations Committee analysis, it also has support from dozens of progressive organizations. Moving on to SB 7. This was put to the committee, I think, shortly after our meeting last Thursday. It's a Catherine Blakespear authored bill with no co-authors yet that incorporates homeless needs into regional housing needs allocation process, the RHNA process, and it obligates localities to use state funding to house their unhoused residents. So I'm not a great expert on the RHNA process, but after reading the analysis and the bill, there are basically two ways that SB 7 addresses the problem of unhoused people. It improves that process by implementing a new homeless income category, thus requiring local cities and counties to specifically serve unhoused residents' needs in their local land use plans. And two, it requires those cities and counties to adopt a plan to meet their unhoused residents' needs, to submit the plan to the Department of Housing and Community Development. Grants are involved from the Homeless Housing Obligation Fund. These are all existing entities based on the jurisdiction's proportionate need. Frankly, even Catherine Blakespeare's author's comments, hello, Naz, even her comments listed a number of issues that are unresolved for compliance with various aspects of
What?
existing
Must have been
law.
private comments. You
So
got
its status is that it is in the Appropriations Committee with a hearing date a week from today. So, you know, if and when we approve support, we're going to have to move promptly through the California Legislative Advocacy Portal, Gus, with our letters to the author, to the Appropriations Committee Chair, Anthony Portantino, and to
Let me go put my earpiece in.
Senate President Pro Tem. Danielle, who's talking? Somebody want to be heard?
No, Michelle was just coming in and she needs to mute herself.
yeah,
Okay.
seriously.
And finally, I'm going to present AB 716, which deals with the problem that emergency ambulance transport is unregulated for non-contracting ambulance services, and of course, patients who are not insured and not part of a health plan. The ambulance market is, of course, the least competitive, non-free market that could possibly exist because people who need to get quickly to an emergency room and their family and friends and housemates and spouses cannot, of course, start shopping around for ambulance prices or ambulance quality when they have to get to the ER. So
Or it
government
doesn't
is
even
the
get paid
only
for if it's a work
entity that can
comp
regulate
injury.
them. And the essence of the provision
Mm.
for both insured and the non-insured patients, it ends what's called direct reimbursement of ambulance costs by patients. That is when they're directly billed, whether or not that involves out-of-network, non-contracting
Danielle, do you remember when you
services or
unbuttoned your blouse in front of me
contracting ambulance
because you thought I was a
services.
lesbian?
And
Do
it
you remember this?
establishes
I do.
basically a single rate for all based on the latter, contracting in network. So therefore it will end price gouging. A little factoid: California average ambulance cost is 4 times the national median. Often it goes to and above even $2,300 per ride. So we're not talking about Uber or Lyft here. Ambulance services, of course, need to be compensated fairly because of the expensive equipment, training, downtime, and other costs. But it puts the regulation in the hands of the Emergency Medical Services Authority that exists as a licensing and regulating authority. Okay, that ends my presentation. Danielle, are you ready to go with the Anaheim?
Ready, Danielle? Let's go.
Johnson, real quick, did you have a chance to talk about SB 525 as well? It's something I received today.
I haven't talked about it, but I could, because it's very simple.
It is very simple. So please go ahead before we invite the Anaheim folks to.
All right, so it creates a $25 an hour minimum wage for all healthcare workers. And it has a very rigorous and comprehensive, inclusive definition of healthcare service, management, and workers. Just about everything you can think of other than the pizza delivery man. All right, that's it. Now, Naz, you want to introduce Danielle further?
I don't see her on the call.
Hi, everyone. I'm just waiting for the organizer to get on, but she should be on any minute. We can go ahead and start.
Okay. Oh, you're gonna go ahead. Danielle, you're ready to go ahead a little bit as the other person joins?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So good to be with you all. My name is Danielle Wilson. I'm one of the lead political organizers with Unite Here Local 11, and we successfully gathered the requisite signatures to put an extremely important initiative in front of the Anaheim City Council and the voters, which is to protect hotel housekeepers who are really the backbone of the tourism economy in Anaheim and in Orange County and really our country, right? From sexual assault in the workplace, and to ensure that they're fairly compensated for the kind of work that they do. And I can get into detail about what that means. But essentially it means that hotel workers will be paid $25 an hour, effective when the law is either adopted by the city council or approved by the voters ultimately. And it contains other provisions that, for example, give housekeepers panic buttons if they feel threatened at work, so they can call for help, and other provisions that go along with that. It's a law that we passed in many other municipalities. Some cities have adopted them through the city council, like in the city of West Hollywood, in the city of Santa Monica, and the city of Glendale and LA County. This would be the this would be the second city in Orange County to adopt this law that should be and is slowly becoming the law of the land for hotel workers. So we would love to have the party's support as we move forward with this. The Anaheim City Council will have the option, a few different options of what to do with the initiative when it is before them at the May 16th City Council meeting. I would like Veronica to be able to present a couple stories about why this is so important. I think she's in the waiting room. Gus, maybe you see her?
I don't see her yet.
Well, my hand's up.
But just real quick, before we take questions, I wanted to let everybody know that this is similar to the
I don't have
legislation.
questions. I worked on the campaign.
Okay,
I worked
Jenna,
on the campaign.
okay, we're finishing the
Jenna,
presentation before we do any discussion.
Jenna, please, you need to wait to be recognized by the chair of the meeting to talk. Thank you.
May I add
Yes,
on
Veronica.
to what Danielle has presented, because we got a little bit more flavor when this came up before the legislative committee. Is
Go
that
ahead.
okay?
Go ahead.
Okay. So
We're
this
still
is
on
similar.
legislative committee presentation.
Thank you. So this is similar to the regulation that we considered for the Laguna Beach city, the city of Laguna Beach. It's similar rights that are being requested in the city of Anaheim. The biggest difference between the two pieces of legislation is that in Laguna Beach, the wording for a living wage was not part of the request, and in Anaheim it is. So it's a stronger piece of legislation, to be honest. Yeah.
Okay.
And enough signatures have been collected to put this on the ballot, and so hopefully the city council will respond favorably with a positive vote. That's it from me.
Libby, I see Veronica on. I think we need to go to her next, right?
Yes, yes.
Hello, good afternoon. All. Thank you so much for having me and inviting me. I apologize, I can had trouble connecting. So that's my turn, correct?
Yes.
Thank you so much. So basically, I'm
This is why
coming here on
Democrats think
behalf to
that
Unite
anything
Here
done
workers, like you
think it's
explained,
different.
Nas, yeah, we had these collect signatures around city, Anaheim City, and this is regarding to workers, hotels workers. That's actually a good law. We recently passed in Irvine, and you can imagine how they is helping with sexual harassment lately. Unfortunately, these workers lately pass a lot of stuff every day. You don't come in just to work. It's unfortunate they pass that kind of situation, so that prevent a lot of things on the part of security, as well the workload and everything. As a housekeeper working in the Disneyland for 8 years, I know the stories for my coworkers. I know very direct. We facing a lot of situations, let me tell you. I can stay all night and explain a lot of them. You can imagine, but one of them is the basic things one in these days, paying the rent here in Orange County that's so expensive for housekeeper. They need to do the extra, they need to do more overtime, extra hours, and just for have a roof on the head and bring home food to the home. And this is for the child, and that's a lot of things we're facing with these workers. That's why I'm humble here, representing workers and asking to support this law. That's very important for many families. And part of the this area, I'm living here in Ponderosa, in Haster, Orangewood, and Disney area. And I can tell, I see every day housekeepers walking to the hotel area every single day. And you can imagine how they when they walking back, they are so tired. Housekeeper is a hard work. So they asking just for a little support right there, and it's just for living. We are not asking for be rich, just to live and to make the living in these days. So this is my part. Thank you so much for having me again.
Thank you very much. Okay, so now we will have a very brief discussion. Alan, correct that we can have a brief discussion without pulling items if anyone has?
Correct.
Okay, so Jenna, because you are not a member of this committee, I first will take comments or questions from committee members. Are there any comments or questions from committee members? Yes, Luis Andres.
I can't even with these people.
Yeah, I just it was mentioned that it was also pushed in Laguna Beach, and I was just wondering if it passed in Laguna Beach, or if it was a ballot initiative, or if it was a city ordinance, or what.
No, it
It
didn't.
was also an initiative that went before the voters, and unfortunately it did not get the requisite number of signatures to pass there.
So not enough signatures to get on the ballot, or
No,
not
we had
enough?
enough
A lot of
signatures.
signatures and a lot of votes that have happened in the last several years on these measures. But no, the voters did not approve it in Laguna Beach.
Got it.
Industry spent, $1 point something million against it to defeat it, unfortunately, and we are the lowly but mighty hotel workers union. So we did not prevail in that instance.
Got it. Just was trying to get the clarification on it.
Oh my God.
That's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, any other committee members that have questions or comments? Okay, Jenna, as a guest of this committee, you may have a brief comment or question. But I do have to distinguish the difference between people that were specifically invited to make a presentation versus a guest that is coming in to watch the meeting.
Okay, so let me speak, please.
Okay.
I worked for Unite here in Georgia. I walked in Georgia, which was a completely different operation from what I experienced in Southern California. I walked in Laguna Beach. There were days that I was collecting signatures by myself when they couldn't get any other people to collect those signatures. I walked in Glendale. I was a team lead in LA. Our canvassers had guns flashed at us. We had Nazis observe us. I was bit by an attack dog. I am permanently crippled as a result of that. The canvassers were paid $20 per hour, and the team leads got pennies over the dollar on them because of the amount of hours that we were forced to work every week. And I think it's entirely inappropriate for the entire Democratic Party of Orange County to do the bidding of a single union without trying to extend that to all workers, because they don't extend that to their canvas staff. And we were put in peril. We were put in jeopardy. We had no written job descriptions. So when I was injured, I had no way to have modified duties without going on medical leave. And I've been on medical leave ever since. So don't think it's appropriate for Ada to use this body to advance her measures without trying to consider the rest of the people in Anaheim.
All right, thank you, Jenna. I will just comment that also on this agenda is something that's being put forward by another union. So it's not just supporting one union.
I agree with that, but the fact
All right,
is,
so
like,
thank you. We've heard your comment and people can, Dinah, did you have a comment as well? I saw your finger up.
I know. It's okay. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Okay, so with that, does anyone want to pull any of those items from that consent calendar? If not, can I get a motion to pass the consent? Do I need a motion to pass the consent calendar? Is that correct?
Yes,
Okay, I
please.
saw Deborah raise her hand. Deborah has moved to pass the consent calendar. Jonathan,
Second,
thank you. Does anybody object to passing this consent calendar?
yeah, I do, but I don't fucking count.
No objections, so we have passed that consent calendar. And the last thing on the agenda is announcements.
This is honestly why
And I will put
Democrats
myself in
can't
the queue, but does
succeed.
anyone else have announcements?
This is why Democrats don't succeed, you guys.
Okay, well, with that, I want to tell everybody on Sunday, May 21st, there will be Pride at the Pier in Huntington Beach.
Oh,
I'm sure you're all aware that Huntington Beach City Council passed an ordinance that no longer allows the Pride flag on the city poles. And every Sunday at 11 o'clock, we have been waving the Pride flag at the pier from 11 to 1. But on the 21st, it's going to be the big one. And they're going to have a giant flag hanging from the pier that they're sewing right now, and speakers and a huge event. And I personally will be out of town, so I can't be there. So I'm relying on all of you to show up instead. May 21st at 11 a.m.
They don't give
And
a shit.
also Orange Coast Huddle's next Zoom is on May 20th at 10 a.m. And the topic is school boards. And that's it.
Yeah, that's it.
And I think we are done. We can
Yeah.
adjourn the meeting.
Nice.
Very efficient.
Right.
Right.
Very
It's great when I
efficient.
have an agenda to look at and I got people to call me when I skip over something.
Madam Vice Chair, do we need a motion to
No.
adjourn?
Do we need a
No.
motion to adjourn? Okay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Wait, don't leave it. I always save the chat. And thank you,
All right.
guys. Okay, good night, everyone.
Good
Good
night,
night.
everybody. Amazing. Fucking amazing.